Summer is easily the best time of the year, especially in Southern California. But one of the best summers in Southern California had to be the summer of 1984, because Los Angeles was hosting the 23rd Olympic Games. 31 venues were used that year, most notably the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the Rose Bowl, Dodger Stadium, and Pauley Pavilion, among many other widely known sites. And let's just say each venue attracted the largest of crowds, rightfully so. Everyone wanted to share in this historic experience. However, managing 31 venues is extremely chaotic. Between the number of sporting events, the number of athletes, and then the number of spectators, there is plenty of room for error. Yet, every Olympic Games is so successful and somehow runs so smoothly because of the large number of hardworking and dedicated volunteers. Like that one volunteer. Go back. Right there. That woman. She was one of the most diligent volunteers who helped at the wrestling venue. And maybe I am a bit biased because that woman is my grandma and I think she's the coolest person I've ever known. But I do know this. She worked hard for everything in her life and always wanted to be involved and help others. So this film isn't about summertime in SoCal or the '84 Olympics, sorry, but it's about her, Myrtle Yoshioka Asahino, and the extraordinary life that she lived. My grandma's story begins here. On April 14, 1933, Myrtle Shinoi Yoshioka was born in Kaunakakai, Molokai. She was one of 5 children, the middle child of the group actually. She had an older brother Isamu, an older sister Misao, and 2 younger sisters, Janet and Cherry. Although those Molokai days were about 80 years ago, Auntie Janet recalls Grandma being pretty tough and strong-willed, even at a young age. Grandma had her first job around the age of 9 picking kiawe beans with her brother, and then just a few years later decided she hadn't had enough manual labor.
Today, 15,000 men and women are employed in Hawaii's pineapple fields and factories.
So Grandma went to work in the pineapple fields as well, often leaving very early in the morning with her brother to go to Kuala Pu'u. It was not easy work. Uncle Isamu said there were very few girls out in the fields doing what she was doing. But it was that strong sense of independence that pushed her to leave Molokai and join her Obachan and Ojichan in Honolulu. She attended McKinley High School before going off to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Apparently, Grandma's father was not keen about her attending UH straight out of high school because he felt she would get married without finishing college. However, she was determined to go and prove him wrong.
The University of Hawaii was founded 7 years after the islanders voted to become territorials of the United States in 1900. Today it has an enrollment of 7,000 students.
She worked for her room and board, made the most amazing friends, particularly her friends Millie and Doris. And remember those names because it's important later on. But most importantly, she worked hard in the classroom as well. After 4 years at UH, she did prove her father wrong, and she received a Bachelor of Science in Home Economics. Following college, Grandma spent the next 2 years in the mainland. She completed a 1-year dietetics internship program at Mass General Hospital in Boston before moving to Chicago for her first real job. And no, she did not have to do any manual labor this time, thankfully. Instead, she worked as a dietitian for St. Luke's Presbyterian Hospital. Grandma loved it. But, I mean, if it weren't for the cold, it would have been the most perfect place to reside for the rest of her life. She got reacquainted with some cousins out in Chicago, she was working her dream job, and... oh, did I forget to mention it's where she met the love of her life too? Well, there you have it. Grandma and Grandpa met through mutual friends at a party type of gathering where all the Hawaii locals in the area met up to get to know one another. But before I tell the story, let me start off by saying Grandma always had a deep love and appreciation for music. Because it gave her a good excuse to dance. In fact, Auntie Janet recalls the radio constantly being on in their Molokai home, just so Grandma can familiarize herself with the music and dance along. So back to the story. Grandma, being the social, outgoing person she was, danced at this little Hawaii reunion and caught the eye of Steve Noboru Asahino, her future husband. When he saw her dancing, he thought to himself, I have to meet this woman. I guess I can say the rest is history. The two of them got married in Chicago and had their first son, my Uncle Stephen. But something was missing. They longed for something similar to Hawaii. So they ended up moving to sunny Newport Beach, California. Their family of 3 was soon a family of 6. They had 2 daughters, my mom Karen and my auntie Catherine, and then one more son, my Uncle Kenny. Building a life and having their family out in California was probably the best decision Grandma and Grandpa could have made. Moving out to California provided Grandma the opportunity to reunite with a few of the best friends she had made in college. Do you remember the college friends I mentioned earlier? Well, if not, that's perfectly okay. One of Grandma's best friends from UH just so happened to be Doris Asahino. Yep, my grandma married her best friend's brother. Okay, but all jokes aside, it was a true small world moment. But then again, Hawaii really is a small world. Her other best friend from UH, Auntie Millie, married Grandpa's good friend Carl Nishimura. They moved out to California as well. So Auntie Doris, Auntie Millie, and Grandma were all in such close proximity of one another that it made it easy to raise their families together. I think the most amazing thing about Grandma and Grandpa were the people they attracted. They had the most loving and supportive friends. It's just unfortunate I can't showcase and recognize each and every individual who made Grandma and Grandpa's lives so special. But it's these people who made the fun times that much more enjoyable and the hard times significantly easier. When Grandpa unexpectedly passed away in 1985, Grandma was overwhelmed by the wave of love and support from her friends and family. There was never a question if she'd be able to do it alone, because the community that she and Grandpa had built had her back. This is what Grandma deeply valued: community and friendship. Despite her 4 children growing up and having families of their own, she was never really on her own. She was part of many different circles, so her friendships only strengthened as well as grew in numbers. And she had 6 grandchildren.
It says, Grandma is another word for love. This is in Japanese, Oba-chan is grandmother. Hazel, you got that?
My brother Paul, Cole, me, Malia, Eliza, and Nula. And I can easily say that she had a friend in each of us too. It's been fun piecing this together, asking relatives to recall moments from 80-something years ago and seeing all the memories Grandma made in her 87 years of life. I just wish she could have remembered everything that was shown here. Alzheimer's disease removed all the color and clarity from the memories that occupied her mind. It was a slow burn. Grandma's brain was just a dying ember gasping for enough oxygen, heat, and fuel to stay sharp and lit. As much as we'd love to be able to hold on to our fondest memories forever, that's just not the case. And there is nothing more frustrating than the inability to recall a memory. Having a thought just slip the mind is a defeating feeling. Saying, I forgot what I was going to say, or I can't remember, certainly builds up frustration in me, especially when I take pride in having a good memory. I remember my grandma's frustration, but I don't want that slow burn to smoke and cloud my vision and perception of who she was. Nor would she want others to see her unclearly either. The reality of the matter is, yes, she suffered from Alzheimer's, but she was so much more than her disease. I just hope that when you look at her in these snapshot memories, you don't see the smoke. Instead, I hope you see the color that I see.
Okay, this one's for Gabby.